The year is 1894 BC. Pharaoh Amenemhat II rules over a prosperous Egypt. At the temple of Karnak, life bustles with activity. Among the priests and artisans, a young scribe named Khenmet diligently performs his duties. Khenmet leads a modest life. He resides in a small, sun-baked brick house. It sits in the shadow of the magnificent temple complex. Every morning he wakes before dawn. He walks through the cool desert air to the temple. Khenmet's work is essential but unremarkable. He spends his days meticulously copying scrolls. He records the offerings made to the gods. His fingers are stained with ink. His back aches from long hours bent over papyrus. Yet Khenmet finds solace in his work. He believes that even the smallest task contributes to the glory of the pharaoh and the gods. He feels a deep sense of pride. He is part of something much larger than himself. One day, while organizing scrolls in the temple library, Khenmet overhears a hushed conversation. Two men, cloaked in shadows, speak in low tones. Khenmet strains to hear. He catches snippets of their conversation. They talk about a golden amulet. It belongs to the pharaoh himself. They plan to steal it. Fear grips Khenmet's heart. He knows he must act. He must warn someone. Khenmet's mind races as he tries to make sense of what he has heard. He knows that stealing from the pharaoh is a grave offense. It is punishable by death. But who could he tell? The priests are too far removed. The guards would never believe a humble scribe. Khenmet decides to seek out the royal guard captain himself. As darkness falls, Khenmet slips out of the temple. He walks quickly through the maze of narrow streets. He clutches a small papyrus scroll. It contains a message about the planned theft. He arrives at the barracks of the royal guard. He asks nervously to speak to the captain. A burly guard eyes him with suspicion. He tells Khenmet that the captain is unavailable. Khenmet pleads with the guard. He insists that his message is urgent. It concerns the pharaoh's safety. The guard, unconvinced, shoves Khenmet away. Dejected, he turns to leave. Suddenly, strong hands grab him from behind. He is dragged into a dark alley. A rough hand clamps over his mouth. He struggles against his captors, but it is no use. They are too strong. His scroll falls to the ground, forgotten. Khenmet finds himself bound and gagged. He is thrown onto a cold stone floor. Terror courses through him. He realizes the men who captured him are the thieves he overheard at the temple. The two men from the temple stand over him, their faces menacing in the flickering torchlight. They taunt Khenmet. They mock him for his foolish attempt to interfere. Just when Khenmet fears for his life, a commanding voice cuts through the tension. A tall, imposing man with piercing eyes enters the room. The other two men fall silent. They bow their heads in respect. This is Amma, the leader of the thieves. He stares down at Khenmet. He demands to know why the scribe tried to betray them. Khenmet, despite his fear, finds his voice. He pleads with Amma. He explains that stealing from the pharaoh is a grave sin. It will bring misfortune upon them all. He speaks of the importance of honesty. He stresses the value of a life lived within the law. Amma listens intently. He seems to weigh Khenmet's words carefully. To Khenmet's surprise, Amma's expression softens. He confides in Khenmet, revealing that he and his men are not common thieves. They are desperate. They are former soldiers who served the pharaoh faithfully, but they were forgotten, left to starve after they were injured in battle. Amma explains that he only wants to provide for his men. He believes that the pharaoh would not begrudge them a small share of his wealth. Khenmet is torn. He understands Amma's plight and sympathizes with their desperation. But he still believes that stealing is wrong. He argues that there must be another way. Amma considers Khenmet's words, pacing back and forth, deep in thought. Finally, he makes a decision. He will not steal the amulet, and he will not punish Khenmet. He orders his men to release the scribe. Khenmet is stunned and overcome with relief. He thanks Amma profusely. Khenmet rushes back to the temple. He tells the guard everything. The captain is convinced. They capture the thieves. Pharaoh praises Khenmet. He shows mercy to the thieves. Khenmet is promoted. He becomes a hero.